Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Lazz. Um, Kicking it off with our first Lazz Logs segment. Um, I say segment, but really, it's pretty much like the same thing like vlogs, but it's just audio. More so than anything else. Um, so yeah, we're making this pretty simple and whatnot. I'm pretty sure you notice we've got a fancy new opening and everything. Make it seem like there's production value to these, but there really isn't. It's just me having some fun and whatnot. Um, yeah, but kind of like starting this off. This is how the format's gonna go. Um, you know, it's a video, but it's predominantly audio elements, kind of like how I've indicated in the in the blogs I've posted before. And I know for everything that is going to be in today's programming, I guess, or segment, or however you want to do it. There isn't going to be any kind of images or video elements added to this, so you could just pretty much just put it on, kick back, relax, listen to my soothing voice or something stupid like that. So yeah, overall, this is really how I wanted to start this off, is just kind of talking. And if you're viewing it through a video, cool. If you're just kicking back and relaxing, cool. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it. As you just see a still image of my avatar in the background. That's yeah, that's it. So that's what it's going to be for the rest of the time. If you think something crazy or weird's going to happen, it's not. So, yeah. So I do have something juicy that has kind of happened this past this past Thursday. And I know I've talked about my job lightly here and there, things busy, never have time for a life, anything and everything that everybody's gone through before when it comes to work. So yeah, I just kind of want to let you guys know I don't think anything too crazy is gonna come of this. I mean, I know this is going to be major changes and whatnot that I'm going to be dealing with, but yeah, I decided to put in a 6-month notice last Thursday. Uh, you know, and I mean, with the notice that I've given my employer, it's really more along the lines of it's a notice of resignation, but it's literally resigning from the position that I'm doing and not really the company, which I think that's always the funny part too, is how how English how the English language is with the play on words and whatnot, because technically, yeah, you can resign from an organization, but you can also resign from a position, and that's really what it was, or well, what it was. That's what it is. I've been doing the lab manager thing. Well, I officially had the position and been doing it for less than 2 years. Technically, if I finish out with my terms that I've given my employer, it'll be exactly like, well, I wouldn't say exactly 2 years, but a little over 2 years of service, or well, I say of service, but of doing that position. Um, the obvious elephant in the room is, of course, not really the time it takes away from me doing things at home and whatnot. I've been doing this for 16 years, which which also, to add to that too, yeah, last Thursday was my 16th anniversary that I turned in my notice, which I don't think they noticed that, but I was thinking about that when I was typing it up and putting it in and whatnot. Yeah, but overall though, I mean, besides the stress from everything that's going on, and and I know with some of my friends, and can't really say too much of family because I don't really have a family anymore. They've noticed the past week or two just me just struggling to be happy, just always like a loose cannon often, and things like that they knew something was up. And I mean, I've gotten like that before, just like for anybody else. People have been upset and depressed about actions and things that occur in their life, whether it's at the workplace or personally at home, or school, or a number of things. But the crazy part too is like, even for the amount of stress and everything that I was going through, it wasn't like anything that I've gone through before. Like, and I'm not saying that like, oh, a new experience, like in the terms of I've dealt with worse stress factors or stressors before than what I dealt with this last time. So, yeah, I don't know if that was just the final straw mentally or what, because, I was pretty optimistic, deep down inside that, hey, I'm gonna be able to pull through it, and it's just the nature of the business. I'll find a way through, and I just have too many deadlines due at the same time, and not really the kind of help that I would want to get things done, and that is what was the really big stressor about what happened. The other thing too, I kind of feel like the morale from the staff in my department is it's down. Everybody just has a get in, get out mentality, and it's not the best suited thing for the type of industry that we're in, because things can come up at the last minute moment, and then it's time to get back to it, and I've strived to try to find the perfect balance for work and personal life, and I just don't think that anybody really found that, and it's just kind of a division across in the lab from like generations, pretty much, where you got the younger groups that are more inclined and in tune to do the get in and get out, because hey, I got things I got to do, and work isn't everything, which is good. That's great. That's kind of the idea. But then, you have the older generation that is, hey, we just got to work till the job gets done. Why can't we do this or that and whatnot? But, the only downside with the older group is it's not that they're not willing to work. Because, I mean, when they show up, they show up. It's more along the lines like, if there's not a lot to do, or if there's nothing constant, they're just not willing to show up too. So, which is a problem, which I do get, but that's the thing too, is like, it's just, civil engineering or geotechnical engineering, however you want to classify it, it is a very niche kind of work to be in, that you only work when the contractors and clients need you to work. So that's there's a benefit to showing up every day, where you can kind of keep work moving and going. And you know what, yeah, there's going to be some days that you could show up to work and there's just nothing to do, and you might just work like a half a day or less, or maybe a little more than that, and I get to, if you're hourly, well, that it hurts you, or for how off and on it is, the beginning of the week could be slam busy, and you could be on your way to getting some great overtime that you really need, and then Thursday it just dries up, and then by the end of the week it's like you're lucky if you got 42 hours, and then you did a hard press, 3 10-hour shifts, and then the last 2 days of the week was, oh, cool, so I got like 5 and 7 or something like that, so, and that's just the nature of the business. And sometimes it goes the other way around too, where it's just slow all week and then it just gets slam busy, and then even when it gets slam busy, it's those turnaround times just don't change, and then it's like, cool, so now I got to bend over backwards to make it happen. And that's just excuse me, and it's just kind of the background to how things are, which I feel like I might have explained that before, in the vlogs and blogs about myself. But so if you kind of take that into mind for how that works, and then I got these conflicts of, I wouldn't say interest, but just conflicts in general, where you got the young group that'll show up every day, but they're in and out. So unless if it's constant, or unless if it's been pre-scheduled or pre-planned or spelled out to them or given to them, they won't do it. They won't do it. And then you got the the older generation that when they show up, they're there till the end. So you give them a last second thing, they're going to squeeze that in. Doesn't mean that they'll get it done, which is fine, but at least it's in the progression towards completion, which is better than it just sitting there till the next day or for a few days, because everybody else is just busy focused on other tasks and jobs that they're used to. As well as with the newer generation, it seems like there's a lot of guidance along the ways of, if you want them to do something different, you kind of have to teach them and show them yourself. There isn't as much initiative and drive as there has been with the older generation for growth and understanding of services and how things work and whatnot. And that's kind of I guess it's kind of the culture shock, if you even want to say that. But my experience seeing that, being a manager, and I mean, hell, for all I know, I think everybody could have dealt with that. Being a manager from years past, because generations always mold and change things all the time. So yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the other factor. And the other big factor too is I feel like the low morale and everything is also due to I don't want to say me not caring about what I do. I care about quality and whatnot, but I've for how much that we do there. And the thing is for like a laboratory manager position at a lot of organizations and places, it can fall in one of two blanketing categories, I guess is the way to put it. So it can either be a professional or a technical position, where if it's professional, hey, look, we want you dealing with clients, we want you talking with people. You don't really have to get involved with the testing aspects. It's making sure, hey, are things moving along? More of like an office-esque kind of setting is what they would want you to do. Help them with proposals and things like that. And you have the technical one where, yeah, you're still kind of doing all that stuff, but you're on the floor helping. You assign yourself testing that needs to be done so everybody else can do things and whatnot. And it's always a case by case standing for that too as well. So it ain't a matter of oh, well, only busy, heavy production labs do things like that. No, small mom and pop labs are okay operating like that. Or, it really just comes down to that the organization at the office and how they want to handle things and how they delegate the work and whatnot. That's where those blanketing, me struggling with English here, but those factors kind of blanket that overall job title and position. And and I don't want to say unfortunately, because I kind of knew getting into it, they really need somebody more in a professional role. And and the thing is like, look, I've tried, and I don't want to say like I failed per se, but I'm not that good with it. Or, well, I guess I feel like there could be somebody much more better suited to take that on than what I could present and handle. And it's not a matter of, I just can't handle professional tasks or dealing with clients, or, we got to go to a meeting and, but you got to, wear your Sunday's best or your office casual best kind of thing and whatnot. And, like I've never had a problem with that. Like I do enjoy those aspects of it and whatnot. I think it's just from all the stressors that I kind of stated before, the staff that I'm working with, and and I do want to say too, like I don't really have a problem with them. Like they do good work. It's just for those few moments when there's a last second thing or whatever. Well, guess what? Me being a manager, I have to get it done. So if I don't have the staff to get it done, well, that means I have to do it. So that's just to kind of cover that a little bit too. I don't want to put it past them. Like they know what they're doing. They ask questions and whatnot. But anyways, so for the professional aspect, it's a lot of that where, okay, cool, and and I know I'm sort of kind of rambling on here a little bit here, but I guess what you could say my downfall for that is really more along the lines that I wanted to get the job done and whatnot, and and I don't want to say by any means to get the work done, but it was pretty close to those kind of requirements is what I kind of set myself, or depending on the severity of what needed to be done for the work. So as some of you might have known, if you talk to me or anything and whatnot before, well, I would always go into work late. Like, I mean, late morning, maybe early afternoon. If things were crazy, I would go in like late afternoon, early evening, something like that. And yeah, with me doing that, I could get more done because then I wasn't held up with those professional aspects of the job where, hey, I need this, and hey, I need that, and hey, we got to figure out a solution to this and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, it's like I stated, like I like those aspects. I like getting challenged. I like dealing with problems. I do. I like dealing with problems, and I don't mind applying problem solving to things. It's just, when you have all those other factors that I kind of stated before, okay, so, if I get there like in the morning, let's say at like 9 a.m., okay, cool. People might need stuff or whatever until about 4 or 5 p.m. Okay, well that's fine because that's about an 8-hour day right there. But then throughout that day, like just getting held up with getting them the solutions and needs and discussions to keep things moving, which they do need, and they do understand that too. That when they do that, it does take me away from things. So it's not like there's any issues with that. But then if I have like I don't know, let's just say 2 to 4 hours worth of reporting to do, and now here we are, it is 4 or 5 p.m., I still have to do that 2 to 4 hours of reporting, even though I got there around 9 a.m., and I'm on salary. So I'm only obligated to work 8 hours. And don't get me wrong, my job does do an overtime thing for salary paid employees, which is nice because technically that's not required. It's not required at all in America to have that. But it's nowhere easy to get. I mean, you can get it. It's not too difficult, but for what a manager has to do, it's not a very easy thing to get overtime when you're on salary, at least for where I'm working at. And trust me, and I'm not in it for the overtime neither. Like with me accepting the lab manager position and stuff, I wanted to kind of step back, take things easy, and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, like compared to when I was hourly before, there has been a reduction in hours and whatnot. Like before it was like 55 to 70 hours a week when I was hourly, and now it's like it's always within like the 50s range. In most cases, sometimes 40s, maybe every now and then I'm like in the 60s, but that's with, some people on time off, and, I'm picking up, I'm picking up, I'm covering whatever that they're doing. But even with that, with the amount of work or whatever that's going on, usually that kind of turns into me getting a little bit of overtime too. So it's a nice little incentive thing, even when I do that. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm saddened for my decision and choice, but, I guess before I continue to kind of wrap that up, for timing and things, as well as finding the best suited thing for somebody professional before I start rambling on to something else. With me working late and doing all that other stuff, it gave me more time to focus on getting things like reports and specialized things and repairs or staff related issues. I say staff related issues, but I guess I only put it like that because it's not like I really dealt with like HR issues. Not that I couldn't, it's just, everybody played well, everybody was all right. It's more so like, hey, I need more of this, or I need this document, or can you help me with whatever, like small things, so I guess that's why I put under the staff related issues category in my life. But it gave me that time to really focus on it without getting held up with things. And, and don't get me wrong, for the company I work for, we have so many different ways to connect and communicate and whatnot. And everybody uses those means too, which is great. And, and it's not like I'm slipping up or anything like that, but, I know for a lot of these, moments when, when it comes up for, hey, I need you to help me with XYZ so we can do this, or I just want to double check something or whatever. It's easier just to say it than to put it in an email or leave a phone call, or, hey, make sure this is done by here. And then there's no additional explanation behind that. Cause, sometimes it's nice to get that extra additional explanation as to, hey, why are we doing everything? That's so if an issue or whatever arises, then specifically like what the client is looking at and what they're looking for and whatnot. At least, that's my overall observation for when it comes to, those kind of issues and actions and whatnot. So that's kind of the professional aspect that I feel like I've been lacking, that I think somebody else with experience can probably fulfill those needs as well, which I guess it's kind of like the 3-part-ish kind of thing. I mean, the staffing, when I relate to the staffing and whatnot, I really don't want to say like that was an issue, because really, if I wanted to make changes or strides, in my honest opinion, I feel like I could have just did things differently. I could have managed things better, maybe be a bit more stern about certain things, or really get to the root of the problem and whatnot. So, even though staffing was kind of like my second part of that, I was just kind of covering the overall situation of what's been guiding my decision and whatnot. But really, I think it comes back down to the professional aspect that I have to do. If I'm not there to be there for my staff, well, I can't get upset with them if they do something wrong. And it's not like anything like that has happened, and they're really good at asking questions and things before they execute something. So that's why, too, at the same time, like, staffing problems or issues, well, not really. I think it's more so management delegating work to staff, for those type moments, or just kind of working things out maybe a little better with the project staff. But, I've always felt like I had a good handle on that, with the project staff. Even with me kind of just spelling it out and spilling everything out for me putting in my notice, the thing too that I do want to say is it's a I don't want to say like it's private, or it's like going through a study or anything, because kind of like what I stated before, well, it's a resignation from my position and not from my employer. And even when I initially turned in my resignation, that afternoon, my supervisor told me, well, I'm not accepting this. And, he was more so not accepting it as if I was leaving the company. And, I kind of sprung on him at the end of the day that, because, I was doing one of my, well, I ain't coming in till 5 or 7 p.m. moments. So, and, I just got fed up around 3 p.m. So I knew I wanted to, got my resignation typed out or whatever, and even I told him that too, because, even I was getting questioned, hey, have you been feeling like this for a while or whatever? And it's like, well, not me giving this to you now, but yeah, with some of the stress and stuff, like things like that. But, it was only me, having that initial time, like once some of the stress factors really stacked up, and just kind of try to see if I can delegate one more time due to deadlines and things, and then just kind of turned into I don't think I'm going to meet these deadlines, and then I don't know what the outcomes are going to be, and not really along the lines of either I meet these deadlines or I get terminated. I know it's nothing like that. It's just it's it just causes extra drama and things, and I just don't want to deal with all that while I'm at work. But besides that, it wasn't really like what the ending result was going to be, is what motivated that. It played a very small factor, but it gave me the time to really reflect and see, what am I doing as a lab manager, and that's why I kind of, did that. So anyways, kind of like what I was stating, this is something that's just being kind of handled for right now by my supervisor and our quality team. And, the thing is that, I know that the rest of the office and the company is going to know when I get there, but it's kind of being handled a little bit hush-hush to more than likely kind of figure out how are we going to transition, how are we going to move things around and whatnot. Because, with me stepping down and whatnot, and it's like I said, like, look, I'm working for the rest of this year in this position. So the thing is like, I know I'm still going to be dealing with all this stuff and whatnot, and that's fine. It's just, it's more so I just can't continue to do this. And that's the whole idea. I can't continue to do this where I got to do something different. Well, I say do something different, but like even within my notice, I've stated and recommended, hey, look, I would like to transition back into just a laboratory technician again. Just get back to basics. Find somebody that's suited that can do it and whatnot. But really, all that is kind of in their court because I know we're kind of fully staffed, and yeah, I know with me kind of stepping down and whatnot, that is going to create an opening. But that's also the other thing too is that it's kind of the office's call for whatever that they want to do. Because like I stated, I think we need somebody with actual manager experience and or laboratory manager experience. So either just experiences and they went to school and did management, or they worked somewhere and was able to manage a team. I think that's exactly like what we need to be successful, because I know I feel like personally, I feel like a lot of things have kind of slipped a little bit, and it's from that is why I'm doing what kind of sealed the deal for me to make this decision. So I don't know if they're going to talk to my laboratory coordinator to see if he wants to move up or not. I know I kind of already stated, like, look, I'm not saying you can't talk to or whatever, because now that this ball's in your court. It's like, for me, I'm just done. And, for me, I'm just going to finish out this year. And then if there's something open, then cool. If not, then, well, I guess I'm going to have to look for work, which, I mean, I know the economy isn't doing that bad or anything, so it's not like I'm worried about that. It's kind of like, I guess the horrible way to think about it is it's like finding a job. It's like finding a new job or another job is like the dating scene. You've been out of it for a while, so you feel imbalanced, and it's, I don't know. It's like, it's like, that's just how I think about it. It's kind of weird to think about it like that, but I mean, for me, working at this institute for 16 years now, it's not that I can't get through an interview or anything like that, but it's just the fact that I can't. I'm losing my train of thought here. I just don't want to have to bother with all that, because I still love the place that I look at. They're a great place. They've never treated me wrong. It's not like management let me down. I feel part of me has kind of let them down. And I don't know. I mean, we'll see however it goes, but that's really like the big burning thing that kind of happened, last Thursday that, I thought it would be more fitting to kind of fit into doing this segment more so than anything else, because I mean, nothing too crazy has been happening before that and whatnot. Yeah, so I mean, I'll let you guys know or keep you up to date, but yeah, and I don't want to say it's hard hitting. I feel good that I've done this, because I feel like over time, quality and me probably giving the attention to detail that I've always given for this industry and whatnot would probably just slip, because like with anything, well, I don't see enjoyment in this. I don't like doing this anymore, or I just don't like these certain aspects, and you just kind of lose that over time. And for the industry that we're in, look, you can have a bad day. You can always have a bad day, but you still got to be on point. You still have to, whether if you're having problems with work or relationship issues, or you just got something personal going on that's really bogging you down or giving you like a bad day, or contractors being a douche. And that's the thing I've always told people. You can have a bad day, but you got to be on point. So, you can be miserable, just you you can't, you just can't have that occupying like any more than, I would say, a quarter of your mind, to be honest. 3/4 of your mind, when it's go time for work, it's go time for work. And that's so you can make sure that things are going right, or things do go wrong, at least you have a good enough mindset to kind of identify when that does get brought up. Hey, oh yeah, like, look, it was a bad day, but I do remember I did things like this instead of this. But anyways, I think I've kind of gone over that for a little too long and whatnot. So so now I'm going to continue on a lighter note. So the lighter note here is kind of like what I've covered before in one of my blogs and whatnot. Transitioning, to a computer, not not the sex kind of transitioning or anything. But transitioning from my tablet to my desktop that I was using for game captures and whatnot. And, obviously, as you've seen with posting before and whatnot, well, of course, it'd be horrible if something bad would have happened. But yeah, it was a great success, and, it works great and fine. I definitely have to point out, doing the walk down furry lanes, like, technically I don't have to save a copy of the animations or video content or anything like that for viewing, because it always looked choppy with everything before. Like, it, this thing does the software does exactly what it says it does, which I'm not surprised. I've never had doubts with the software. I knew it was always a hardware limitation with the tablet compared to, a desktop PC that has, I forget what kind of processor. It's not like the top of the line i9 core process. I think it's like an i5, and has a graphics card. Whatever requirements I needed for the Elgato game capturing. So it's a good successful transition. I had to do a few extra little changes and things that I thought I would cover here. So before before with the tablet and whatnot, obviously it was a space limitation for saving things and handling things, where most of my day-to-day activities, I just, no problem, save it on the server, have network drives and whatnot. And then for videos and whatnot, for faster action and whatnot, well, I had an external hard drive that I had plugged into my port replicator and whatnot, and everything was running on Wi-Fi too. So I didn't, like video editing, I want to keep that as local as possible, because it'd be faster than relying on Wi-Fi or whatever. Which, and don't get me wrong, like I think the Wi-Fi, at least for like local transfers and things, it's like, I don't know. I think it can hold a good 30 to 40 megabits, and then if it's really kicking ass, it's like 50's range, but I don't think it really ever hits 60 or anything. And it could be just, and don't get me wrong, like the access point is just like through one wall, in a residential home. And things like that. So it's not like it's a far distance, but like I know we have like a lot of wireless devices connected to it, as well as just a lot of I guess you could say RF, radio frequency. Yeah, I guess RF interference. Just with devices running in general. Like, I mean, if I took a picture of what I have here, like I got so much technology and devices close to each other, I can only imagine how much radio interference it would produce if everything was on all at the same time too, which, I've never really tested that out. and whatnot, which, you can either buy one of those fancy devices or you can get an AM radio, and that's why people don't use AM radio, because of all the radio frequency interference. So, if you have an AM radio and you're close to a device, and you change it to a station that is a station, and if it kind of cuts out when you're next to the device, okay, well, there's your problem. Because it's just those frequencies and things. Anyway, I'm not here to drop any knowledge on anything like that. But anyways, so with these minor changes that have occurred since I've made, everything available and transitioned and whatnot, that I knew I was going to deal with, obviously that external hard drive that I was using for video editing, got maxed out again for the fourth time. So, I absolutely had to retire that, which I knew that was going to come sooner or later, because it was like, it wasn't even that big of a drive. Like, I think it was like 150, 160 gigabytes. It was one of those weird, like, how, it was like, I think like late 2000s, early 2010s, external hard drive, USB, micro or mini port or whatever with, you had to plug in, one of those things. So I knew that was going to run out, which obviously when I was doing all the testing and stuff, okay, well, max that out and whatnot, which isn't that big of a deal because, well, I got a server, and, with this desktop, I could have gotten a wireless, dongle for it, and then could connect to the Wi-Fi. I mean, it did come with one, but, I opted to just, hardwire it through a LAN cable, and, I got like a switch for it, and ran a cable, and, did all that stuff. So, and, and this is the funny part, for as much as I've been doing PC support and whatnot, I've never really gone through like all the motions of like, okay, if I'm operating like Cat 5 or Cat 5e or Cat 6 or whatever, you got, everything has to match for it to work, so if you really want that, 100 megabits or gigabit speeds or whatever, like everything has to match. Everything's got to be the same cable, same cable, not really same cable quality, but same cable depending on, how the pairs of wires are twisted, and, or they, it kind of had to have that hardware-esque protocol set up. And, so, I took the time and bought all the right things and whatnot. And I mean, I don't think I did it right per se, because I think Cat 6 is supposed to be gigabit speeds. I think it's supposed to be gigabit speeds, but I mean, it is solid 100s with local transfers, which is fantastic, because that's what I really kind of need. That's what at least a spinning disk hard drive can do, if not more, depending on what you get. So, so, I was definitely impressed with that. So, putting it on the server for videos and video editing, well, I guess I don't want to say for videos and video editing, because I still do the editing on the local machine. It's just for my final products that I'm going to post, that's the, for, well, I guess for production, anything with production, pre and post production, or whatever have you may, when it comes to anything that I've been posting up on Lazz.network, vlogs and blogs and walk down furry lanes or whatever, like that external hard drive just held all that content there. So, now it's on the server. I've created a network drive to make it easier to do that. When it comes to actual video editing, that's done right here on this machine, and obviously this machine's a beast. So that kind of brings up the next thing, which I knew I was going to deal with, because this is exactly what I dealt with the tablet. So the system drive is the exact same size as the system drive on the tablet. It's an SSD and it's 120 gigabyte, which, look, that's good and fine and all, for the speeds and the things that you want to do. When you're loading a video as temporary files, it eats that space up quick. If you've ever did any video editing before, size matters. It matters a lot, because it doesn't matter. Well, I guess let me rephrase this a little bit. Technically, if you're able to save the file on your local hard drive, it wouldn't produce as big of temporary files. It would just have those extra temporary files for whatever editing purposes that you want to do, for whatever final product you want to have that you're going to export. Now, when you don't save on the local hard drive, on the system drive or whatever have you may, it's going to create bigger size temporary files, because it has to pull pretty much that full size of that video and put it on your hard drive regardless as temporary files, which is fine, because then it can clear, or you can tell the computer, hey, clear temporary files or whatever, and then you don't have to worry about always editing, or, oh shit, I forgot to move this file, or whatever. So that's kind of the other benefit for that if you do it that way. I guess, technically things would load faster if you just have the file on your local drive and then just point everything to it and do everything there and whatnot. But then you're going to eat up space faster, as compared to just, okay, well, I'm just going to get temporary files, or, just load it from like an external hard drive, a network location, wherever, and then you can just load it up, and then you can just go from there. So obviously I'm doing that. I can tell you from everything that I've posted so far, which, I've done all of my game captures for the month, because I always try to do 5 in a month. I maxed out the hard drive 2 times now, the system drive, which, once again, I'm not shocked or surprised, because that is exactly what I dealt with the tablet, and that's the reason why I've made this transition to here. So I know I'm willing to go through it 2 more times, and then I'm going to have to do something. But the upside to this is, at least since it's a desktop computer, I can just upgrade the hard drive and transfer the data, or there's a lot more options. I'm not limited to the actual hardware limitations, or I know I've kind of stated it before. I could have looked into seeing and what kind of SSD the tablet uses, and buy something and then install it myself and then take it apart, and I just don't want to have to deal with that, because when you come to tablets and phones and things like that, like, you got to be really careful for how you take these things apart, because they can easily, the data cables are thinner, everything is smaller, it's easy to rip something apart or tear something off, and then once when you have that, then that's it, you screwed yourself on something. And I've dealt with that when I was replacing my battery on my iPhone 5C back in the day. So and that's why I just didn't want to deal with that too, because I've had it for a while and whatnot, and had this machine, and now here we are. So I kind of wanted to give an update on that too, because I know it's been quiet, and I know I did the follow up and said everything's going, but now this is with me truly, everyday use with game captures every now and then and whatnot. And it's like I said, man, it's a great dream. I knew it was going to work out just fine. I didn't doubt it for a moment, but so I know, sooner or later, or depending on spacing or whatnot. Because I mean, where it really kills everything is like if I do a whole bunch of game captures in a weekend, which I've done that before, and then I just want to post them. Well, that's a lot of temporary files that's going to be loaded at once, and it's just going to eat up the hard drive. And it also depends on the size of the files too. So kind of like with the Perfect Dark one that I posted. I mean, I think that thing was like 4 hours and 15 minutes or 4.5 hours. Like, Jesus Christ. And I mean, I don't think that's the longest video I've posted for that. I think it might have been 6 or something. I think I've done something longer than 4 hours for sure for game captures. So that's why it's not like, oh my God, biggest one. But it was just, it's huge. It's a big size. It was double-digit gigabytes worth of data that had to have been preloaded to be, well, actually not even to be edited, because it was a testing thing, so I didn't even make any cuts to it. It was just to be loaded so I can so I can give it a better format for playing and whatnot, which really isn't too much. I've just always been that way. Like, don't get me wrong with the Elgato. It saves and transcodes as MP4, where if I wanted to, I could just take it and post it and go. But it's kind of nice to do, Well, actually, no. I had to do editing. That's right, because I did commentary. That's solely right. Yeah, because the commentary saves differently, or it doesn't save with the video file, which is kind of nice, because if you didn't like the commentary, you take it out. So I have to add the commentary to it. So yeah, I guess no matter what, I would always have to do video editing. But I mean, even for like the stuff that doesn't really need to be edited and it's already in a format I would already post the content and whatnot, I still put it through the rigmarole of, okay, well, let's just MP4, let's put it in MP4 and change it to this and that, and it's not like I'm worried about like connection quality or anything, because I mean, look, dude, it's on my home server, for fuck's sake. So on a home connection too, by the way. So I ain't worried about reducing sizes and doing all that. So I might have to deal with that. Probably before the year's up. I can see that for sure, especially since I maxed out the hard drive 2 times already. I've did that 2 times already in the month that I've already made the transition and changes. So I can already see this being something I'm probably going to have to face probably before the end of this year. That kind of also brings up the other thing too, where, well, now my server is having an even more heavier role than before, where yeah, sure, it has, it has my website, my contents, and my edited videos and stuff, but now the edited videos and the production process now is being saved to the server. So it's kind of doubling up the storage space. So and it's I feel like it's a decent size server for home use. It's like 2 terabytes, but now you add video editing to it, and I'm pretty sure for anybody that's like I stated before, anybody that's done video editing, it just eats up space so quick. So I know I wouldn't doubt if that's also going to be another thing I'm going to have to deal with, which at least the last time I looked, I think I got like 988 gigabytes of free space. So it's still going to be a while, but if I am actually going to have time to do these game captures and things like this, well, this is only going to take up space. And don't get me wrong, like the vlogs, the vlogs and logs and everything like that never takes up a lot of space. Like, even with me saving all the individual animation files and things for a walk down furry lane, that still doesn't that doesn't compare anywhere as doing a game capture session. The game capture sessions are the ones that really eat up the space and does all the heavy lifting and whatnot. So so that could be a thing too, which I guess a little bit of foreshadowing here with the server. I'm pretty sure I said this before. I fucking hate it. So I know if I'm going to be running low on space or something, I'm probably going to look more towards just getting a replacement altogether. It's probably going to be the simpler solution. And I know if I do that, that's going to be a lot of research and looking into things and whatnot, because I still want to keep the website, the CSM that I use for the website, the services that I use and whatnot. That I know a lot of, at least if I'm looking at a NAS solution, I know a lot of them can do that, but I think some could be picky with the CSMs, though. I didn't do too much research, when I first got what I got, and I'm just disappointed. I'm definitely disappointed with all the security certificate issues that I've had this entire time. It just drives me bonkers that I can't really do anything besides use their proprietary app, and then their proprietary app can't communicate. So I don't know, but So this was a pretty lengthy Lazz Logs. I think a pretty good start too. Whoopsie, dropped my pencil. That's what's been going on. Like I stated too before, this format, this is just how things are going to be. I'm not doing vlogs anymore. So, this is how these are going to be. So just, kick back, relax, and hear me talk for at least this one almost an hour. So I hope you enjoyed the new format. Of course, I still have no users for the site and whatnot. So I can't really hear back from anybody unless somebody, emails the, the webmaster and whatnot. And then, I can hear through the webmaster account, what people think and whatnot. But, this is new, and it's kind of like what I stated too before. I'm doing this for an audience that has no voice, so I'm doing what I think is going to be easy and fun and enjoyable for myself as well. So, and at least for how this one went, I think this went pretty well. I think I enjoyed every little bit of it. Just sitting here talking, it's nice, But so. Like I stated, your first Lazz Log for the for this whole year, the only one for May, which is fine because I know I haven't put really anything else out and whatnot, and really for May, to be honest, since everything was just a transitional period, I kind of thought I would be able to do one more vlog. I thought I was going to be able to do it like around the beginning of the month, and that I just didn't have time, and then I had everything I needed to make the transition, so that's why I'm like, nah, fuck it. I just want to get this done and going. But so thank you for joining. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll catch you at the next one.